In an intrinsic semiconductor, the number of free electrons A equals the number of holes. B is less than the number of holes. C is greater than the number of holes. D impossible to say. The correct answer is equals the number of holes. A device that converts mechanical into electrical energy is A. Solar cell, B. Thermocouple, C. Chemical cell, D. Generator. The correct answer is generator. Which one of the following kinds of materials has the lowest permeability? A diamagnetic material, B. a paramagnetic material, C. a phytomagnetic material, D. all of the above. The correct answer is a diamagnetic material. The total impedance of a parallel RLC circuit A always increases as the applied frequency increases. B is equal to the sum of the values of resistance, inductive reactance and capacitive reactance. C always decreases as the applied frequency increases. D is maximum at the resonant frequency. The correct answer is maximum at the resonant frequency. The rise time of a pulse waveform is the time required for the voltage to rise. A from 0 to its RMS value, B from 0 to its peak value, C from 10% of the peak value to 70.7% of the peak value, D from 10% of the peak value to 90% of the peak value. The correct answer is from 10% of the peak value to 90% of the peak value. For a pure capacitor, A AC current and voltage are exactly in phase. B AC current leads the voltage by 90 degree. C AC current is converted to DC voltage. D AC current lags the voltage by 90 degree. The correct answer is AC current leads the voltage by 90 degree. The component that forms the electrical connection between the rotating coil of wire in a motor and the external source of electrical energy is called the A. rotor, B. armature, C. battery, D. commutator. The correct answer is commutator. In a pure inductor, A. AC current leads the voltage by 90 degree. B. AC current and voltage are exactly in phase. C. AC current lags the voltage by 90 degree. D. AC current is converted to DC voltage. The correct answer is AC current lags the voltage by 90 degree. Waveforms are graphs that show A. frequency on the vertical axis and amplitude on the horizontal axis. B. amplitude on the vertical axis and frequency on the horizontal axis. C. amplitude on the vertical axis and the passage of time on the horizontal axis. D. the passage of time on the vertical axis and amplitude on the horizontal axis. The correct answer is amplitude on the vertical axis and the passage of time on the horizontal axis. When the collector current increases, what does the current gain do? A. decreases. B. stays the same. C. increases. D. any of the above. The correct answer is increases. How many types of flow are there in a semiconductor? A. 0. B. 1. C. 2. D. 3. The correct answer is 1. Which one of the following devices is most often used for measuring opposition to current flow in a circuit? A. ammeter, B. voltmeter, C. ohmmeter, D. wattmeter. The correct answer is ohmmeter. What form of energy is used to maintain an imbalance of charges between the terminals of a battery? A. electronical energy, B. mechanical energy, C. chemical energy, D. solar energy. The correct answer is chemical energy. Which one of the following statements best applies to a parallel RLC circuit? The voltage waveform for each component always has the same amplitude and phase as the applied voltage. B. The sum of the current is always less than the applied current. C. The current waveform for each component always has the same amplitude and phase as the applied current. D. All of the above. The correct answer is the voltage waveform for each component always has the same amplitude and phase as the applied voltage. The equivalent of 1 micro A is A 10000 A, B 1000 A, C 1 millionth of an ampere, D 1 million amperes. The correct answer is 1 millionth of an ampere. Which one of the following statements best describes magnetic hysteresis? A. Hysteresis is the amount of magnetic flux that is not confined to the core material of an electromagnet. B. Hysteresis is most apparent when a steady amount of current is flowing through the coil of an electromagnet. C. Hysteresis is most apparent when the current through the coil of an electromagnet changes frequently. D. Hysteresis is most apparent when the core material is saturated. The correct answer is hysteresis is most apparent when the current through the coil of an electromagnet changes frequently. Which one of the following phrases best describes residual magnetism? A. Magnetism that remains in the core of an electromagnet after the current through the coil is turned off. B. The force of attraction between the poles of a permanent and temporary magnetic field. C. The amount of magnetic flux that is not confined to the core material of an electromagnet. D. The circular magnetic field that surrounds a conductor carrying a current. The correct answer is magnetism that remains in the core of an electromagnet after the current through the coil is turned off. A transformer has a primary voltage of 120 Vrms and a secondary voltage of 25 Vrms. If the secondary current is 1 Rms, what is the primary current? A. 7.8 mA, B. 208 mA, C. 200 mA, D. 300 mA. The correct answer is 208 mA. Household light bulbs have a given power rating, and they operate at 120 V. Which one of the following equations most directly provides the current rating of these light bulbs? AP is equal to I to R. BP is equal to IE. CP is equal to E to R. DI is equal to PE. The correct answer is I is equal to PE. Which one of the following phrases most accurately describes a purely inductive circuit? A. Resistances provide the only opposition to current flow. B. Inductive reactance provides the only opposition to current flow. C. Combinations of resistance and inductive reactance provide any opposition to current flow. D. The AC voltage lags the current by 90 degrees. The correct answer is inductive reactance provides the only opposition to current flow. The knee voltage of a diode is approximately equal to the A. Applied voltage, B. Barrier potential, C. Breakdown voltage, D. Forward voltage. The correct answer is barrier potential. A zener regulator has an input voltage from 15 to 20 V and a load current from 5 to 20 mA. If the zener voltage is 6.8 V, what value should the series resistor have? A. 310 ohm, B. 400 ohm, C. 410 ohm, D. 550 ohm. The correct answer is 410 ohm. The RMS value of a sine waveform is A. The number of cycles completed in 1 second. B. The time required to complete one full cycle. C. Equal to 0.707 times the peak amplitude. D. Equal to 1.41 times the peak amplitude. The correct answer is equal to 0.707 times the peak amplitude. Which one of the following is a direct statement of Ohm's law? A. The voltage drop across a resistance is proportional to the value of resistance and the amount of current flowing through it. B. The total resistance of a parallel circuit is less than the value of the smallest resistance. C. The algebraic sum of voltages in a loop is equal to 0. D. The algebraic sum of currents entering and leaving a point is equal to 0. The correct answer is: the voltage drop across a resistance is proportional to the value of resistance and the amount of current flowing through it. A high-pass filter. A. Passes lower frequency signals and reduces higher frequency signals. B. Passes higher frequency signals and reduces lower frequency signals. C. Has no effect on AC signals. D. Increases the level of all frequencies by a significant amount. The correct answer is: passes higher frequency signals and reduces lower frequency signals. Which one of the following statements is true for the voltages in a series RC circuit? A. The total voltage is equal to the sum of the voltages across the resistance and capacitance. B. The voltage always has the same amplitude and phase for every part of the circuit. C. The total voltage is less than the sum of the voltages across the resistance and capacitance. D. The total voltage is greater than the sum of the voltages across the resistance and capacitance. The correct answer is: the total voltage is less than the sum of the voltages across the resistance and capacitance. A battery is a device composed of one or more: A. Chemical cells. B. Voltage generators. C. Solar cells. D. Piezoelectric cells. The correct answer is: chemical cells. Doubling the operating voltage of a purely capacitive circuit. A. Has no effect on the capacitive reactance. B. Doubles the amount of capacitive reactance. C. Multiplies the capacitive reactance by 7. D. Cuts the capacitive reactance in half. The correct answer is: has no effect on the capacitive reactance. How much current flows through a 0.02 H choke that is operating from a 12-V AC, 100 Hz source? A. 0.02 A. B. 0.955 A. C. 10 A. D. 2.02 A. The correct answer is 0.955 A. The transistor has a collector current of 10 mA and a base current of 40 mA. What is the current gain of the transistor? A. 250 A. B. 350 A. C. 0.25 A. D. 300 A. The correct answer is 250 A. What is the phase shift between total current and voltage in the circuit of a 100 ohm resistor connected in parallel with a capacitor that has a reactance of 100 ohm? A. 180 degree. B. 30 degree. C. 45 degree. D. 75 degree. The correct answer is 45 degree. Molecule is: A. The smallest particle of a substance that retains the properties of that substance. B. A atom that has a shortage of electrons in its outer orbit. C. A atom that has an excessive number of electrons in its outer orbit. D. A atom that flows whenever there is an imbalance of electrical charges between 2 points. The correct answer is: the smallest particle of a substance that retains the properties of that substance. What form of energy is used for creating static electricity? A. Solar energy. B. Mechanical energy. C. Chemical energy. D. Light energy. The correct answer is light energy. Suppose the zener diode has a breakdown voltage of 10 V and zener resistance of 8.5 watts. What is the additional voltage when the current is 20 mA? A 0.17 V. B 10.17 V. C 20 V. D 18.8 V. The correct answer is 0.17 V. A transistor has a current gain of 125 and a base current of 30 A. What is the collector current? A 3.75 mA. B 3.2 mA. C 0.05 mA. D 13 mA. The correct answer is 3.75 mA. A dielectric material is A good conductor, B a good insulator, C a poor conductor of electrostatic fields, D a good conductor of magnetic fields. The correct answer is a good insulator. A certain electromagnet has 1000 turns of wire. How much current must flow through the coil in order to generate an MMF of 100 ampere-turns? A 0.1 A. B 1000 A. C 10 A. D 100 A. The correct answer is 1000 A. If a load resistance is 1 kW, a stiff current source has a resistance of A at least 10 ohm, B less than 10 ohm, C more than 100 k ohm, D less than 100 k ohm. The correct answer is more than 100 k ohm. A flashlight battery has internal resistance of 1 watt. For what values of load resistance does the flashlight battery appear stiff? A 60 ohm, B 50 ohm, C 100 ohm or more, D 10 ohm. The correct answer is 100 ohm or more. The number of free electrons and holes in intrinsic semiconductor increases when the temperature A decreases, B increases, C stays the same, D 0 or C. The correct answer is increases. Which one of the following statements is true for current flowing in a parallel circuit? A. The amount of current flow through each branch of a parallel circuit can be different depending on the resistance of each branch part and the amount of voltage applied to it. B. The same current always flows through every part of a parallel circuit. C. The total current in a parallel circuit is equal to the total voltage multiplied by the total resistance. D. The total current in a parallel circuit is always less than the smallest amount of current. The correct answer is the amount of current flow through each branch of a parallel circuit can be different depending on the resistance of each branch part and the amount of voltage applied to it. Holes are the minority carriers in which type of semiconductor? A. Extrinsic, B. Intrinsic, C. N-type, D. P-type. The correct answer is N-type. Doubling the number of turns of wire in an inductor. A. Reduces the value of inductance by 1/2. B. Multiplies the value of inductance by 2. C. Multiplies the value of inductance by 4. D. Reduces the value of inductance by 1/4. The correct answer is multiplies the value of inductance by 4. A farad is defined as the amount of capacitance necessary for A. Dissipating 1 watt of power, B. Causing an AC phase shift greater than 90 degree, C. Storing 1 V for 1 second, D. Changing the voltage on the plates at the rate of 1 V per second when 1 A of current is flowing. The correct answer is changing the voltage on the plates at the rate of 1 V per second when 1 A of current is flowing. What is the capacitive reactance of a 0.1 μF capacitor that is operating at 1000 Hz? A. Less than 1 ohm, B. 1590 ohm, C. 312 ohm, D. 690 ohm. The correct answer is 1590 ohm. A certain power transformer has a turns ratio of 5. What voltage can you expect at the secondary winding when you apply 120 V to the primary winding? A 4.73, B 0.4 V, C 24 V, D 600 V. The correct answer is 24 V. Which one of the following statements is true for the currents in a parallel RC circuit? A. The total current is equal to the sum of the currents for the resistance and capacitance. B. The current always has the same amplitude and phase for every part of the circuit. C. The total current is less than the sum of the currents for the resistance and capacitance. D. The total current is greater than the sum of the currents for the resistance and capacitance. The correct answer is the total current is equal to the sum of the currents for the resistance and capacitance. Which one of the following statements is true for current flowing in a series circuit? A. The amount of current flow through each part of a series circuit can be different depending on the resistance of each part and the amount of voltage applied to it. B. The total current in a series circuit is equal to the sum of the currents flowing through the individual components in the circuit. C. The same current flows through every part of a series circuit. D. The total current in a series circuit is equal to the total voltage multiplied by the total resistance. The correct answer is the same current flows through every part of a series circuit. The total inductance of a series inductor circuit is A. Equal to the sum of the individual inductance values. B. Equal to the sum of the individual inductive reactance values. C. Less than the value of the smallest inductor. D. Equal to the source voltage divided by total current. The correct answer is equal to the sum of the individual inductance values. When the graph of current versus voltage is a straight line, the device is referred to as A. Active, B. Linear, C. nonlinear, D. bipolar. The correct answer is linear.